on the basis of wanting to have a discussion whether Novatech FX really are trading and making an average of 3% per week, and have been doing that since 2019. I was just watching one of Ruben's updates here, and this is what he says about day trading and whether it's possible to make 3% per week consistently in the long term.
I'd also add on to that as well that one of the biggest things which seems to be triggering all of these people who disagree with Novatech 100% is the idea that gains are impossible like this, to get 3% gains a week. Now, I would say to those people, unfortunately, you're not very well educated in the day trading space if you think that, because I've been doing that for the last 10 years and working with traders, seeing it, doing it myself, and those gains are possible. And they're actually possible with just people who trade on their own, a single person. Novatech, if what they're saying is true, they have 7 full-time professional traders. So if there's 7 people diversifying, doing different strategies, trading alongside each other, then actually the gains of 3% to 5% a week are possible.
I'm just going to pause it there. The idea that because there's 7 traders, the gains of 3% are possible, that doesn't matter how many traders you have. In fact, the more traders you have, the less likely you are to make bigger gains, because you're diversifying and therefore you're going to come towards the average, the mean. So you might have one trader who might make 7% in a week, another trader makes 1% in a week, and you might have 5 traders making 1% a week, and therefore your average is going to be lower than the 3%. So just on that basis, where Ruben's saying that the more traders they've got, the more likely they are to make 3% per week, that doesn't logically make any sense whatsoever. You're far more likely to be able to hit 3% per week if you had one single trader with one strategy that worked. The more strategy you add in, the lower that number is going to be. So let's carry on with what Ruben's saying here.
Just to give you a small example of this as well, there's one trader that I'm actually aware of called Marcellus.
So there's one trader I'm aware of here called Marcel.
He's fully verified on my FX book, which for those who don't know is like the gold standard of third-party verification for Forex trading, day trading. And he's been trading now for years. He's had an average of 10% a month.
So average of 10% per month. He's been trading for years. On his my FX book account, he shows the trading for 3 years. So it's not a long-term trade that has been there. The my FX here is Marcellus Lux. Here is his account information. I've gone to his website here as well, and if we just go over to the website luxsystem.trade, we can see that actually they started development was January 2018, and he's basically selling his ability here, and you can set up a PAM account. And so here's his Lux numbers: 9.31% monthly return, an 11.82% drawdown, which is interesting because he does actually have a drawdown. There will be weeks where he's making losses if he is genuinely trading, and these are correct. And I've had a quick look, they do seem to be feasible. 68% profitable trades, so 32% unprofitable or lost trades. Started in 2019. 290 orders closed, so he's not making a huge number of orders. I looked at his September figures. If we just open these up in a new tab, and we can see here that there in the month of September 2022 there were 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 trades in total, so once every 3 days on average, and staying in for a trade duration 3 hours, 9 hours, 6 hours, 6 hours, 42 minutes, 2 hours, 2 hours, 1 day, 48 minutes, 1 hour, 27, 48 minutes. So he typically stays in a trade 3 to 4 hours on average. That's just a mean. His longest trade there was a day, but you can see in the first week of September, 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, he would have made a loss. He was down 3, 5, 6% there, up 5%, down 3% in that first week. So this idea that because some other trader can make 9% per month, therefore everybody can make 9% or 3%, or it's possible to make 3% per week, but that is still underestimating what Novatech are saying they're doing. Novatech are averaging 3% per week since 2019 without a single week ever at a loss, and they take 30% for themselves, which means that they're actually making 4.3% per week if they're genuinely trading. And it still comes back to 4.3% per week if you come to a compound interest calculator and you actually work on these numbers and say, look, if someone really can trade that, you start with a minimal $1,000 balance. If you did 4.3% weekly, and you were to do that for 10 years, because most people are investing, you've got to look medium to long term. 10 years is a very typical time frame for investors to be looking at things. We're compounding weekly. Let's go weekly, and let's see what the figure is on this still. So we're still saying with $1,000 you could make 3.2 trillion. Yep, $3.2 trillion in just 10 years. Now, the richest person on the planet is Elon Musk. It's taken him far more than 10 years to do that. And even that, he's still 1/10 of that value. And that's the richest person on the planet of the 8 billion population of the world. And yet they're saying that Novatech FX, with a group of people who have no background in trading, could set up a system that has consistently returned 3% to the members, so 4.3% in total that the traders are making, is utterly preposterous. Anyway, that's a little bit more detail now. Oh, and by the way, this Lux Trader, 9.31 monthly return. If you were doing 4.3% per week, if you're compounding that in a month, you're talking 18.34%, which is actually double this best figure that Ruben can come up with, the best trader that he seems to know, with provable, in inverted commas, on my FX book figures. So the best trader that Ruben knows, even though Ruben's saying he's been doing it for 10 years, appears to be a trader who's doing half the performance that Novatech FX are doing. So it's really a red herring, this idea that the Lux system trade is as good or is proven to be 3% per week. It's miles out, it's half that figure, and they're showing losses and so on. So this whole idea, I still wait for proof. Anyone can show me a trader who has consistently made 4.3% per week on average over 10 years, then I would quite merrily eat my hat, because again, we can see from the compound interest calculator, clearly no one on the planet has done this, because if they had, we would all know about them. We would be falling over ourselves to know what is their system, how have they managed to do that. They've got $3.2 trillion. And the other thing here is people say, but people withdraw money. If you only started with $1,000 and you had a system that was consistently making 3% per week, you wouldn't withdraw the money. You would compound it up and let it run, which is what all the Novatech members say. Compound your money, compound your money. But then they renegade on that and say, actually, take out your investment first of all, so you're in a no risk, you're playing with house money, which again shows no confidence whatsoever in Novatech actually doing what they say they're doing. Because if they were doing what they were saying they're doing, you wouldn't withdraw your money, you would keep compounding it until you became insanely rich, and you would leave it there for 5-10 years or so. But anyway, I digress. Hopefully that's helping part of the conversation here. Hopefully Ruben will see this video and be able to respond to this, because he's disabled all comments on his videos now, because he doesn't like the quote-unquote haters. The haters are simply trying to point out Novatech FX is almost certainly 99.999% in my own opinion a scam, a Ponzi scheme. It just doesn't make any common sense that anybody could make those sorts of returns. And if they could, here's one final thought, even if they could make 4.3% per week, why on earth would they offer that to other people to become involved with that? They would just keep it to themselves. Within 5 years, they've got more money than most people on the planet. Within 10 years, they are 10 times richer than the richest person on the planet. Why on earth would you make that sort of stuff? Why would you sell that? It's all, there's so many red flags, it's unbelievable, but people are still falling for this. They're responding to their greed, thinking, oh yeah, and all they're listening to is people saying, but I'm making money. Well, in a Ponzi scheme, that's what happens. People make money initially because that's how a Ponzi scheme has to recruit new members into the investment. If they don't show any payouts, then clearly no one would trust it, and the Ponzi scheme would collapse really quickly. So the only evidence that people have for Novatech FX is people saying, but I'm making money. Yeah, but if that money's all being recycled, robbing Peter to pay Paul, and it's simply a Ponzi scheme, that is no proof, no evidence at all that it's not a Ponzi scheme. Anyway, enough of my rant on this one. Hopefully this has been useful for you. Do feel free to reach out and pass comments, and I'll see you on the next video.